I was the same way. And now I've shifted that. So I don't say I can't. Instead, I say, how can I? Because that leaves the door open. And then I start thinking of solutions. And it's just, it's helped me so much because every day I have challenges. There's things that are difficult all day long. And before I would say, oh, I can't do that. And now it's like, no. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Abilities Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. Hello, everyone. So on today's episode, I have Krillie, and I can't wait for her to tell her story and tell you what she is all about. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hi, Nick. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
So my name's Krillie Salavanay. I am a psychotherapist and trainer. So I work in private practice. I see clients. I help them work through lots of different things like anxiety, trauma, difficult relationships. I've started to specialize in women's therapy and helping them find their true selves and often move through difficult childhoods and parental relationships. And what I found when I was working with my clients was that a lot of the work that we started to do was about communication.
Yeah.
And also about moving out of sort of people-pleasing style of behaviors. So what I've found is that by helping people with their communication skills, they were starting to not only use them in their personal life, but start to use them in their professional life too. So now I offer communication skills workshops for leaders in professional settings. I also help people with their people-pleasing tendencies because through the training that I've done and the reflection that I've done as a therapist, I've realized that I am a people pleaser. And I've started to really understand what that means and how it's affected me and my relationships and how I show up and how common it is. When you name something like that to people, when you're honest and vulnerable and you say, actually I like to call it a recovering people pleaser.
Yeah.
That people, oh my God, people just say, me too. It's so common.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. Number one, communication skills. Like for me, that's something that I'm currently focused on because I know that I need to improve, and especially on the listening aspect of it. That active listening. Not listening to understand, not listening to respond, but instead listening to understand. There's a big difference. So that's something that I'm working on myself. And then number two, on people pleasing, I actually just listened to a podcast this morning all about that. So I know exactly what you're talking about. So that's really cool that you brought that up.
Yeah. I think you bring up a really important point, Nick, about not listening to respond, but to understand and really hear people. Because a lot of us are guilty of doing that. We want our time to say our piece, to be heard. But often we can't really connect with people and really understand them and thus get ourselves understood if we don't really listen.
Yep, I agree. And like one of my coaches told me, get comfortable with silence. And as a coach, it really helps a lot because when you're working with a client and they're telling you about something that's going on, and when they get done talking, if you just sit there in silence, they'll keep going and reveal more about the problem or situation that they're in. So then, as a coach, you can better help your clients. And it's just as simple as just sitting there in silence, don't say anything. But
Yeah.
that is very hard to do. It is extremely hard to get used to it.
Yeah. It is. It feels so uncomfortable, doesn't it?
Yeah, like
Mm.
terrible.
Sitting in that uncomfortableness and yeah, learning to tolerate that feeling. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you're right, it does then give your clients the chance to explain themselves further. And it shows that you're willing to give them that space, that you respect them. Mm.
Yep, exactly. And see, right there, I stayed silent a couple of times, and you kept telling us more. So see, it works. So yeah,
Does.
that's awesome. So I want to have the listeners have the opportunity right now to find you. So can you please tell us what your website is?
Yeah, sure. It is called theinspiredmind.com.au.
I love that.
And
That's a good
then,
name.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. That's where I wanted my business to be, that people feel that they can be inspired, and that it's in their hands as well, you know, because I
Hmm.
think true growth and change comes from within, from your own self-reflection, not just somebody telling you what to do.
Yep, I agree. You know, and a lot of times we get so caught up in what other people are telling us. And, you know, I want people to know, like, this is your life. So you should live it the way that you want, not the way that your family wants you to or your friends. Like, and it takes time to really work through and figure out what you want, you know? And like, one thing that I just heard on a podcast not long ago, it said, if you don't know your purpose in life, then you should wake up every morning with the intent to find your purpose. And I thought that
Mm.
was so powerful.
Mm. Yeah, it is. It is. Because even when you haven't found your purpose, you have some purpose,
Hmm.
a reason to get up out of bed. Mm.
Exactly. And when you have a reason to get out of bed, it's so much easier to get up in the morning. You know, because that's something that I used to struggle with. You know, I just didn't want to get up, you know, because like for me, that first initial sit up in bed, you know, because my cerebral palsy, it hurts. Like it just hurts. So like for me, it's like sometimes it's like I just want to lay here, so I would. But now that I found my purpose, you know, there's still days where I just like, I don't know, I'm gonna lay here for a little bit. But most of the time, I just get up because I know that today I'm gonna help someone. Because that's also something that I, you know, intend to do every day. Is I wake up with the intention to help at least one person every day. So when you have a purpose, like life literally becomes easier. Would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it filters down, like you were just saying, to every little thing. Like that pain that you feel in your body every morning, the bigger picture of your purpose
Hmm.
helps then, okay, I have a reason to push through this pain.
Yep.
And then be all these other things that you would have to do every morning to get yourself ready, to be organized,
Hmm.
to be your best. And it gives you that discipline and that drive to do all those things as well, which is so good for us.
I'm so glad that you brought up discipline. That is like the key to like everything.
It
Because
so
like
is.
for me, you know, every morning, I now I've been doing this for uh, over a year now. I have a whole morning routine. There's 6 things on my morning routine, it takes me an hour to 2 hours, depending. Because like some mornings I have more time, so like I can exercise longer or read longer or what have you. You know, meditate longer, and it's just it starts your day off right, and it really like gets you going and gets your mind going, gets your body going, and but it takes a lot of discipline to stick to that routine. You know, I'll be honest. I fell off my routine for a couple of weeks, and this was like last week, like very recently, and my productivity went down. I was not happy with myself. You know, I started to feel more pain because I wasn't exercising like I should. So it's just like, wow, that morning routine really does help. So now I'm, really focused on getting back into it, making sure that I accomplish my morning routine every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's that discipline each day,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, the fallout of it is your body starts to hurt more, but also you felt bad, like you didn't feel good about
Oh, yeah.
yourself. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the thing that I say to myself when there's something that I might not want to do, whether that's exercise or making that difficult phone call, or doing something that's a bit time consuming. I always say to myself, yeah, but how are you going to feel if you don't do it or if you put it off? And I
Yep.
know that I will beat myself up about it, feel guilty, and that those feelings are so awful that
Mm-hmm.
actually just doing it feels better.
Yep. And when we talk about just doing it, you know, I listened to a podcast episode that had Mel Robbins in it earlier today,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you know Mel. She's
Mm-hmm.
incredible, and she has the a 5 second rule. She wrote a whole book about it, everything, and it's so simple, and it's something that I'm going to implement into my life daily from now on because I know it's going to help. But all it is when you know that you have to do a task or anything, and you're having a hard time making the move to actually get it done, just count down from 5 and then say go. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and just do it. And there's a bunch of research about it that explains why exactly it works. I'm not going to get into all of that, but definitely check it out, look into it, and try it out for yourself. You know,
Mm.
that's I think it's always good just to try something. If you have that tendency to not do the things that you should be doing, just simply count down from 5. Like it's so simple. So yeah, I'm excited to start using that and make that part of my discipline.
Yeah.
Just have it
Yeah.
in my routine. Just count them from 5 and go.
Yeah. I love that. It's so simple.
Hmm.
And it's in counseling, and I'm sure in coaching as well, you talk about having tools,
Hmm.
developing a range of tools that you have up your sleeve that help you on a daily basis. And whether that is a routine where you do the same things every day, um, but tools like that as well to help keep you focused and just
Hmm.
get it done. Great.
Yeah, it's so powerful. All the different tools that you can implement into your life. And, when you use them for so long, they just become the norm. They're
Mm,
just part of your routine, and you don't even think about it. It
yeah.
becomes a habit. That's what I was trying to look for. Habit. And one thing about habits is like when you're trying to implement a new thing into your life, there's a thing called habit stacking. So like take something that you already do and then add another little thing onto that you want to add. and that makes it a lot easier to create a new habit. Have you heard of that or tried that?
No, I haven't. And it sounds
Yeah,
great. It sounds
yeah,
really good. Yeah, and very simple. Again, a simple concept, but
yeah,
really actionable and easy to understand.
yeah. Like, for instance, if you're someone that wants to read your affirmations every morning, put your affirmations in your bathroom. So every morning after you brush your teeth, you can read your affirmations. It's just a simple little habit stack that you can do.
I love that. And I love the practicality as well of that because
Mhm.
I am trying to say affirmations, but I haven't. And sometimes I'll write them down on my to-do list, but then I'll forget, and I haven't
Mhm.
got that habit just right yet. Where it is, it's there.
Mhm.
It's somewhere that you can't miss.
Yeah,
I love that.
exactly.
I'm taking that one. I'm
There
taking
you
that
go.
one. The mirror is getting affirmations tomorrow.
Awesome. I have my short little affirmation. It's like, I don't know, 3 sentences. And I'm looking over that right now because I have it, I think, in 8 different spots around my house. Just taped on the
Yeah,
wall. Just
yeah,
to remind me like why I'm doing this, you
yeah,
know? So yeah,
yeah.
it's just so powerful just to read your why as often as you can.
Mm, mm. Yeah, and that reminds me of values as well. I think
Hmm.
often a lot of us don't actually know our why or what our values are. And
Hmm.
you say that to people, oh, what are your values? And people go, oh, I know my values, and what are they? And people are like,
Yeah.
I don't know, being good to people, they can't name it. But
Hmm.
actually taking the time to think what your why is, what your affirmations are, and what your values are, and hone that down
Hmm.
and have that as a daily thing that is around you and reminds you really does help. I think it really gives people purpose, and these days I think a lot of us are struggling with purpose.
Yeah.
We're struggling to know where to go. There's a lot of competing, messages out there, and social kind of norms, and things are changing so fast. So
Hmm.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and what's amazing, if you're someone that wants to improve your life or start a business or whatever, one thing that I learned is if your why is big enough, the how will reveal itself. And
Mm,
it's like so
mm,
true. Like, you may not know how you're going to get there, but if your goal is big enough, you're just going to start taking little bits of action, and then you'll start to see, oh, that's how. It's just incredible.
yeah, that's right. Have the big vision
Hmm.
and then start breaking it down. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Absolutely. Love
Yep.
that.
Well, so we would like to know more about you. Who are you as a person? What do you enjoy to do? Do you have a family? All that good stuff.
Mm. So I guess there's going to be so many listeners from around the world, and they may have picked up on my accent, they may not, but I am from Australia. I'm from Adelaide in South Australia, a beautiful, beautiful city of just over 1 million people. It's a wonderful place to live. I grew up here, and then I moved to Italy when I was 21
Mm,
and met my husband. First week I was there. He is actually English born,
okay.
but he was living in Italy as well. And we got together really quickly, and I decided that I would move to England to live with him. That's where he was based, where he had a job, a career waiting for him after his travels. So I ended up living there for 20 years in Yorkshire, which is an interesting place, very different to Australia. up north. It's it's a beautiful country, and English people are they're similar to Australians in the world. I say Yorkshire folk are very straight talking people,
Yeah.
a bit like Australians. So yeah, it was an
Yep.
incredible experience living there. I and originally after I moved there, I worked in advertising as a copywriter.
Mm. Okay.
So that creative space of writing and selling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I got married. I had kids. I've got two children. And after I had kids, I was just like, I'm not sure that staying in advertising is right for me. I want to,
Mm-hmm.
something didn't feel right. I felt quite lost.
Yeah.
And I was selling stuff for a living, and it started to, even though it was creative and I loved writing, it had lost its excitement for me, its interest.
Yeah.
So I was quite lost for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met a mum at school, and she was studying counselling. And when I was at uni many, many years ago, originally, you couldn't study counselling. It was, psychology, that was it pretty much. And
Mm-hmm.
I'd actually studied undergraduate psychology at uni, but had found it very science based, very medicalized, and that wasn't for me. So I hadn't gone on and done my postgraduate studies.
Mm-hmm.
But when I met her, and she said, "Oh no, you can do a degree in counselling, you can do postgraduate studies in psychotherapy now, and it's different to psychology. It's not so medicalized. It's not as
Yep.
scientific. It's a lot more counselling skills. So actually learning, like you were saying before, about active listening. That's one of the big things that we learned. So we learned all the same theories that you learn in psychology, and you kind of keep those theories in the background when you talk to people. But we
Mm-hmm.
actually learned how to sit and listen. So we used to practice it every week, actually listening to each other, and then learning reflection. So listening for 10 minutes nonstop, and then reflecting back what we had heard, and not just a verbatim, oh, okay, you went to the shops on Tuesday and you bought a pint of milk, but actually learning to hear the emotion, learning
Mm-hmm.
to notice any themes, any underlying issues, and being able to share that, even just in a really simple way. So I can hear it's been a struggle for you this week, just something that simple. So we
Mm-hmm.
actually learned counselling skills, which I loved,
Mm-hmm.
and that people, person to person, interpersonal skills, how to show empathy, how to bring your true self into the space, for the good of your clients. So yeah, I went back to uni. I learned that. I did that postgraduate study, and best thing that I ever did.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like a lot of us, we will start out in one career, and then one day it just doesn't feel right. And unfortunately, a lot of people just stay because it's what they know, so they don't venture out. But I would love to encourage everyone, if it doesn't feel right, find something else you're passionate about. I think it's important, like enjoy your life as much as you can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Because for me, I found that I wasn't doing my job very well anymore as a
Hmm.
copywriter.
Yep.
I'd lost that passion, and that wasn't a good feeling to think I'm not actually doing this very well.
Hmm.
I'm letting myself down. I'm letting my colleagues down. I'm not going to progress. I'm not going to be able to get promoted if I
Yep.
don't have that passion. Um,
Hmm.
and that didn't feel good, and
Yep.
but also, retraining, it was really challenging and really scary, but it was
Hmm.
so good for me because I was learning new skills, and I really needed to. I
Yeah.
needed to upskill. And I think that's something that people, if they're thinking about moving into something else, it might be really scary, but you will
Hmm.
be so proud of yourself.
Yep.
You really
Exactly.
will. Mm.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I still drive a garbage truck, to make a living, while I build my business. I've been in this industry for 17 years now. So for me, it's what I know. It's easy. I don't really have to think about it. I just do it. But it wasn't fulfilling me. Like I remember a couple of years ago, well, a few years ago now, I loved my job. I loved what I did. And now I checked out. Like it's just that's not where I want to be. And a lot of that is because, I found my purpose. So now I'm building that life, so I'm still working until I'm at the revenue with my business that I want before I pull the plug. I want to make sure I'm good to go first, and then we'll go all in on this, which I'm pretty much all in on this. It's just for like 30 hours a week, I go do that, So, but yeah.
Yeah, that's real dedication, Nick, because you're juggling different things and as I know and like running a business like this there's so many elements,
Yeah.
and you've got to do them all yourself and
Yeah.
you're upskilling, you're learning, you're juggling.
Yeah. And look, like for me, my days, start at 3:30 in the morning and I go to bed at 9. And, right now it's, almost 7:30 p.m. So I've been going since 3:30 and I'm still going. But I will say, before this podcast, I was tired. I was just feeling kind of blah, exhausted from the day. But what I love about doing this is I feed off your energy. So, like, you've lifted me up this whole entire episode. And I want to bring that up because it's something that I never, like, heard anybody talk about until just recently. And it's a fact. Like, the people you're around just change everything. And they do say you are the average of the 5 people you hang around, and that is so true. So, but I just want to thank you because you are incredible. Your energy is awesome, and you brighten my day after a long day at work. So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure, and it's a privilege to be here with you, Nick. And I feel the same. Your energy is beautiful. You're so positive. You're living your life. You're not letting your cerebral palsy hold you back. You're
Exactly.
managing it, you're pushing, and that's a really admirable quality and something that everyone, can learn from and aspire to. And I'm sure there's so many people out there who follow you, who listen, and it really makes a big difference. So you're doing really important work.
Thank you so much. All right. Do you have any last words of wisdom you would like to share?
Yeah, I do. There's something that I say, to my clients, but also to the people that I'm working with, especially with regard to people pleasing. Like it's such a passion of mine. And I think as people pleasers, we try to please others, and we put other people's needs above our own. But what I like to tell people is, when we can free ourselves from the need to please, we give ourselves permission to let our needs matter.
I love that. It's so true. So true. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, my slogan is your abilities are infinite. What does that mean to you?
Oh, I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. And I think, it's so expansive because we limit ourselves so often in our negative self-talk, our negative beliefs, our restrictive beliefs about ourselves, but actually the truth, that is actually true. And when you can sit in that space of knowing that every single human being has the ability to be so much and to grow and to reach dreams, and that dream can be, one person's dream might be to be very, very wealthy. Some other person's dream might be to just be able to go out and go for a walk every day, or to be pain free, or to be just free to make their own choices. And yeah, I love that. I think that's so true. And we need to believe in ourselves and just make that choice. I made a choice a few years ago. Do you know what? I'm just going to believe in myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Because I'd wasted too much of my time going, oh no, I can't. And I realized, well, if I say I can't, I never will.
Exactly.
If I choose to believe,
yeah,
then it feels good, and it will help me get to where I want to be.
Mm-hmm. I want to touch on something that you said. You said you used to say, I can't. I was the same way. And now I've shifted that. So I don't say I can't. Instead, I say, how can I? Because that leaves the door open. And then I start thinking of solutions. And it's helped me so much, because every day I have challenges. There's things that are difficult all day long. And before I would say, oh, I can't do that. And now it's like, no, let's figure out how I can. So, it's been a real transformation, and I'm able to do a lot more now because of that.
Absolutely. Good on you.
Thank you. All right, so how can people reach out to you and find you?
Well, they can find me at theinspiredmind.com.au. They can find me on Instagram as well at The Inspired Mind, Facebook as well, and LinkedIn as well. If there's, if they want to look for training or that kind of thing, follow me on LinkedIn.
All right, awesome. And I will put your links in the show notes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nick. Thank you for having me, and thank you for this lovely space and time for us to chat. It's been awesome.
Of course, it really has been awesome, so awesome. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember, your abilities are infinite.